peoples. Ernesto Morales, I'll be waiting for my daily fix. JJ Sendejas, holy shit. This is getting fancy. Let's go, Jay Smith. Gabe Rivera, yeah. He's congrats, my brother. My peoples. Let's get it popping, man. Let's talk boxing. Y'all already know what it is, man. I'm Jay Smith. I'm your host. This is Box Center, your favorite boxer's favorite boxing show. So apparently Jake Paul and Tank Davis were planning on fighting each other, and Lamont Roach messed up those plans. JJ Sendejas, what's the deal, my brother? Bam! You already know what it is, man. We talking boxing. I want to see what the people got to say, my brother. Are fans of boxing gonna support Jake Paul and Tank Davis fighting each other? Underrated, I'm here. What's the deal, my G? So what do you think, man? Jake Paul versus Tank Davis. Apparently, and it's funny because I said they were planning on fighting each other. Jake Paul was there. And people try to tell me, nah, you just hating on Tank. Tank is not going to fight that YouTuber. Yep, they were actually planning it. And we heard it from Jake Paul's own mouth. The Mexican G. Somebody needs to knock Jake Paul out so this circus show can be over. What if it's scripted and no knockouts allowed? JJ's in the house. Welcome in, everyone, and don't forget to hit that like button. Hell yeah, my peoples. Hit that like button. We're going to be talking some real boxing out here. No bias, no cap, no clout chasing, just real boxing. But, I'm interested in seeing how, what's the perspective of fans because, the same people, I've already seen some of the same people that's always knocking Jake Paul and knocking everything he does and saying I don't respect nobody that gets in the ring with him. How is it that they're happy with Tank Davis versus Jake Paul? Like, are people really going to support that fight? I want to know what y'all think about it. R30, like always, get in my way. Underrated Will. They're not going to fight each other. I don't think it will happen. Well, you gotta see the video that is out right now with Jake Paul saying we were planning on fighting each other far into negotiations, and it fell through because of Lamont Roach. Because Tank gotta give him a rematch. But after he give him the rematch, he do what he gotta do. We'll be talking again. Love more Hinduism. Paul will have knocked that little mofo out. I mean, nah, I don't think so. I don't think Jake Paul has the skills to knock Tank Davis out. He just ain't got the type of skills. I know he a big dude. He might be able to take some of Tank's punches because he's so much bigger, but I can't even imagine how they will go about doing it. Like, what weight class are they even going to fight? Or maybe they were just going to do an exhibition fight with no weight class. I don't know. But Jake Paul, Tank Davis, that's crazy work. That's crazy. R30, crazy work. Tank on some BS fighting this YouTuber. Love more Hinduism. Paul will have to knock that little mofo out. Love more Hinduism, the strength. Listen, I want to see what is the perspective of everybody when it comes to Tank Davis fighting Jake Paul. Tank, we've been talking about it the last few days. Tank, 30 years old, haven't fought any other best, talking about retirement, and he's going to fight Jake Paul? Come on now. The Mexican G, Jake Paul, lost to a part-time boxer. He's trash. I'm saying, he got beat up by Tommy Fury. Hash Bass. Yeah, I want to see what you got. Hash Bass, cap. Don't believe it. Too much weight. But you don't know if it's an exhibition. You don't know what they was planning for. But Jake Paul was actually with Tank Davis, was able to go, in the dressing room and everything while Tank Davis was getting ready. So obviously they linked up. But you don't want to believe that because you don't want to believe that your favorite fighter is trying to fight a YouTuber. That's why you don't want to believe it. R30, Tank on his way out. Hell, fight a YouTuber, but no talk about fighting Shakur. John Parham, salute, my brother. That's how it is. Y'all know he ain't trying to fight no damn Shakur. I made the video about, he's been habitually ducking Shakur for the last couple of years. The Mexican G. I think we got to thank Lamont Roach. Well, listen, in a way, we do got to thank Lamont Roach. Because if Lamont Roach would have lost to Tank Davis, we would have been talking about Tank Davis versus Jake Paul next. And Lamont Roach messed up those plans. Lamont Roach kept Tank in boxing, fighting boxers, not fighting a YouTuber. So, Lamont Roach is the gift that keep on giving. You know what? I'm glad that it played out the way that it did, even though Lamont Roach got robbed of a victory and Tank Davis was gifted a draw. But at the end of the day, he's going to get a rematch. He's going to get a second payday off of Tank Davis. And like I told y'all, the damage is done. Lamont Roach made a name for himself. And he's going to be getting more opportunities. Ernest Morales, good evening. What it's all about. My brother, we talking about Tank Davis and Jake Paul. Apparently that fight was going to happen. But it's not happening because of what Lamont Roach did to Tank Davis. We already know. Put all type of hands on Tank. Had him taking a knee, crying to the referee, and was gifted a draw. That's the only reason it looks like we're not getting Tank versus Jake Paul. But if he would have beat Lamont Roach like everybody thought he would, right now we may have been talking about Tank Davis versus Jake Paul. That would have been crazy. That would have been crazy. John Parham. Tank good for 4 more fights, for sure. He just will retire young and rich as fuck, and I'm not mad at him. No, I'm not mad at him. If he want to retire young, I'm not mad at him at all. But we already know that legacy, he's not going to have an argument for legacy. Like, if he was to retire, I put it to you like this. Tank Davis retired right now, he's not going to no Hall of Fame. He ain't not going to no Hall of Fame. They could forget about that. So if it's about retiring with money, he could get a few more fights. Fight Jake Paul. I don't know if he'll fight a couple of more YouTubers. And then retire from there with the bag. Just can't be talking about you the best of this era. None of that shit. Only the Tankomaniacs will even play with that type of conversation. Arch30. Tank doing like his father Floyd Mayweather did. Mayweather did that sideshow with Conor McGregor. Yeah, my brother, but you got to remember, Mayweather did the sideshow with Conor McGregor after he was already 49-0, after he was already the biggest name in boxing, the face of boxing, the most paid boxer ever. Then he did that to finish off his career. He did it at the end of his career, my brother, so that's different. And plus, he fought somebody that was a superstar. Jake Paul's also a superstar, but not in a combat sport. Jake Paul's a superstar because of YouTube. You got to remember, Conor McGregor is a superstar because of MMA. So there's people who actually wanted to believe that Conor could win that fight. There's a difference here. Nobody got any type of respect for Jake Paul. That's the only reason why he keeps signing women. Look at all the women he signed, and that's good for women's boxing. But none of the men are signing with Jake Paul for a reason. He don't know shit about boxing. Ernest Morales. They were planning another circus. Yeah, they was planning on it. They was already planning on it. And Lamont Roach messed up their plans. LLYY. What up, my family? What's the deal, my brother? Hash Bash. That's too much weight for Tank. It doesn't matter if it's an exhibition. I can't see Tank hurting Jake, but I can see Jake hurting Tank. Okay. It's not about what you can see and what I can see, because you want to inject your opinion of what you think can or would happen. But at the end of the day, it's between Jake Paul and Tank whether they decide to fight each other. And Jake Paul made it very clear that they were advancing negotiations, and the only reason it's not happening is because what Lamont Roach did to Tank Davis. So you could go by what you're assuming or by what this guy's saying who was actually with Tank Davis. I don't know, my brother Hash Bass, but I got to believe Jake Paul over what you think. LOYY. I'm feeling so depressed these days. Watching my brother Jay Smith brought a laugh to me and motive. Thank you. Appreciate it, my brother. Hell yeah. If you feeling depressed, try not, whatever it is that got you depressed, my brother, just remember that you get past it. Life is like a roller coaster. Down and up, down and up. So you might be down, but just remember you'll be up again, my guy. John Parham, Hash, if Tank catch Paul, he definitely can sleep him, but has to avoid getting hit by Paul. JJ's in the house. Jay Smith, can you look back at my text, please? Let me see. Okay, JJ's in the house. Jay Smith, if you're good with it, I think we should change the word duck language to Duckanese, like Chinese and Portuguese. That's what Tank speaks. That Duckanese language. John Parham, Paul has to land. I mean, look, I'm going to keep it 100, my peoples. I don't think Jake Paul has the skills to land a big shot on Tank Davis. He doesn't. I know that he's a lot bigger. He has a lot more reach. But Tank Davis is an elite level fighter. And Jake Paul is not going to land a punch to actually knock him out. If anything, Tank Davis is going to put all type of hands on him. But he might not be able to stop him because Jake Paul is bigger. But I don't see no chance. I don't see no chance of Jake Paul actually stopping Tank Davis whatsoever. Terrence Crawford, maybe I should fight Jake Paul before I retire. We can make a lot of money. Come on, bud. We don't want to see Terrence Crawford versus no Jake Paul. Terrence Crawford is a real legacy fighter. There's no legacy here. Beat up Canelo. Make all types of money. Then if you want to fight somebody else to make more money, great. But don't make it a YouTuber. LOYY. Jake will beat Tank any time of the day. As a Tank fan, I say that. I mean, that's your opinion. I don't know what to say about that, my brother. I don't see Jake Paul beating Tank or any elite level fighter ever. I don't see it. John Parham. Tank will work Jake body like crazy. I mean, I see Tank lumping him up. You know, the footwork is too good. The defense is too good. Jake Paul is not going to land a single big shot on Tank Davis if they decide to fight each other. D. Wheeler, I'm here, OG. What's the deal, D. Wheeler? You already know what it is, my brother. Salute. We talking about Tank Davis, Jake Paul. They was planning on fighting each other. Lamont Roach messed it up. Lamont Roach made them fumble that bag. Fumbled it for them. Now we got to see how it's going to play out because we already know that Tank Davis is going to rematch Lamont Roach. We already know this rematch is going down. What if Lamont Roach beat Tank Davis? Those plans will go out the window right then and there. R30, true definition of a money grab. The Mexican G, I'll fight Jake Paul. I'll mop the floor with that son of a whore. D. Wheeler, sounds like a shit show. I mean, it's a circus show. Tank Davis and Jake Paul, really? Like, these two guys ain't even in the same weight class. They're going to try to, I guess, they would even meet at a catch weight or it would be an exhibition fight. Either way, it's a circus show. LOYY, how long is the stream has been started? I think I'm late today. Nah, brother, we started at 7 o'clock. Only been on for like 13 minutes. Love more Hinduism. Shout out to Roach. Big shout out to Lamont Roach. If not, we might have been getting Tank Davis versus Jake Paul. The only people that are going to support that fight is the Tankomaniacs. That's it. Boxing fans, only the Tankomaniacs will find a way to justify that shit. Hash Bass. Jake is 235. All he got to do is punch Tank anywhere and physically doesn't make sense. All right? That's what physically doesn't make sense to you. If they're talking about it and they want to fight, you're not going to stop them because you have an opinion about it, bro. Why can't you have an opinion about what do you think about Tank Davis possibly fighting Jake Paul? Tell me that. I'm not talking about who's going to win and who's too big. I'm asking you, what do you think about Tank fighting a YouTuber? Besides the weight, besides who... I love your mental gymnastics, man. Tank Davis, Tankomaniacs, I love the mental gymnastics. Like, you're not bashing Tank for fighting a YouTuber. You're not saying anything negative. You're just saying it doesn't make sense because of the weight. But what if they want to fight each other? Why you can't have an opinion on that? Come on, bro. have an opinion about Tank picking a YouTuber for an opponent. LLYY. If Roach beat Tank, I think it's gonna break Tank and his confidence. I mean, I think in a way Lamont Roach already affected Tank Davis' confidence. At least for that fight, he definitely did. But we got to see going forward. We got to see what the game plan is going to be, how Tank is going to make adjustments, and, anything can happen. When you got a guy who hits as hard as Tank Davis, anything can happen. Boss for game. Who you got in this weekend, Boots or Stanionis? I got Boots, and I would love to see Virgil Ortiz versus Boots next. What you think? So I got Boots beating Stanionis in a very tough fight, very competitive fight. I got Boots pulling it off, and I would love to see Boots and Virgil. That's a dream fight. That's a dream matchup. I do want to see Boots and Brian Norman Jr. They wanted to see, that fight they was talking and it fell through. Hopefully they can resume negotiations and make that fight happen. But if he can't fight Brian, because here's the deal. Brian Norman Jr. is a champion at the welterweight division, where Boots wants to become undisputed. Right now, Virgil Ortiz is fighting at 154 and he doesn't have a title just yet. So to me, Boots fighting Brian Norman Jr. is big, for a title to unify, is bigger than him fighting Virgil Ortiz for nothing. Just to go fight him and make us, the fans, happy. So I think that's a fight that needs to happen at the welterweight division. D. Willer. The more I look into this Boots fight, the more I think Boots win 9 rounds, but they going 12 for sure. I think that they're gonna go the distance, man. It's just such a heck of a fight. Stanionis is a lot better than people think. He's a tough opponent. So I don't think it's gonna be a simple fight where, Boots is just gonna wash him like some people have been saying. Braden Golson, let that man get his money. Shit. You see? If it would have been Shakur Stevenson, maybe you would have been saying, oh my God, I can't believe Shakur's going to fight a YouTuber. Shakur's a bum, look. But it's Tank Davis. Let him get his money, bro. I don't know. John Pound, Floyd too old to bully Jake now. Yeah, Floyd is too old. He's too old. Hash Bash, that would be stupid of Tank to make that fight happen, and that's my opinion. I don't like that look for Tank. John Parham. Ward versus Jake. Nah, Jake is not gonna take that fight. He's not. You gotta understand. Ward is retired, but he's still young. He's still strong because he retired young. Retired undefeated. Jake Paul is not trying to get that action. Charles Mills, best boxing channel hands down. Appreciate it, my brother. Bam. Those who don't know, they're gonna find out. We had it for number 1. It's only a matter of time, my peoples. Braden Golson, I say the same thing about him. Charles Mills, what do you think about Ward Kovalev 2? Low blows. What did they stop the fight instead of 8 count? I mean, I didn't like the way that fight played out. I thought, they could have kept going. I thought it would stop prematurely, but it's in the past. So we have to just accept the results. Boss for game. Norman versus Boots will be a badass fight. Let's see, because I seen Bozy Ennis talking about it, and he was not happy that they didn't accept the offer originally, because he said first they offered them $700,000, and Norman Jr. said no. Then they offered him $1.5 million. He said no. Then they offered him $1.7 million, and he said no. So Bozy Ennis is like, yo, listen, they trying to make a name talking about us, but they not taking the money. They not taking the fight. Let's see if they can resume negotiations. That's the fight I want to see so they could unify titles. And that will remember, if Boots beats Stanionis, in order for him to become undisputed, he got Brian Norman Jr. and Mario Barrios. That's who's left for Boots to become undisputed. And he's been very vocal about it. He said he wants to become undisputed before moving up to 154. There you have it right there. Charles Mills, Kovalev was robbed 2 times. But that was it. But that what it is, I guess. Sometimes popularity is going to favor, judges are going to favor popularity. The more popular fighter, and that's just how it went down. LB Marshall, the number one boxing channel. Only a matter of time. Boxing, que lo que, papa. Salute, no question. Tank don't want the smoke with Shakur. Salute, my brother. It is what it is, man. We all know Tank Davis has been ducking Shakur habitually. He's a habitual Shakur duck. But everybody likes to play dumb and act like we don't know what's really going down. He more willing to fight Jake Paul, who weighs over 200 pounds, than he's willing to fight Shakur, who fights at his own division. Come on, man. We know what's going on. Gabe Rivera, what's up, my brother? What's the deal, my G? You already know we talking boxing. The whole situation with Jake Paul revealing that he was planning on fighting Tank Davis. They were advancing negotiations, and Lamont Roach messed that up when he put all type of hands on Tank Davis. If Tank Davis wasn't doing a rematch with Lamont Roach, he may have been fighting Jake Paul. That may have been his next opponent. Boss for game. Damn, Mario Barrios is my guy, and he reps my city. But I know they're going to have to cross paths someday. I mean, look, right now, Barrios and Boots is also a possibility for Boots' next fight. Because if he can't get Brian Norman Jr., he's going to go after Barrios. The only thing is that Mario Barrios has to and his team have to be willing to take that fight. Because at the end of the day, that's what it's all about. We both have to be able to negotiate, come up with the right numbers, and make it happen. I believe that Barrios is a warrior. He'll fight anybody. Let's see. But, like I said, I prefer to see Brian Norman Jr. versus Jerron Boots Ennis. I feel like Brian Norman Jr. has a chance to beat Boots. I honestly do. Now, I'm not predicting that he's gonna beat him. I'm not making any predictions, but I'm talking about skills wise. I feel like Brian Norman has the skill set to beat Jerron Boots Ennis. And of course, Boots, right now, it's easy to argue that Boots is the best fighter at the 147 division. But Brian Norman Jr. is right there with him. They got to make the fight happen so we could find out what's what. That's all I'm saying, my peoples. Leo 741, Tank management team is doing a great job. I mean, they've done an amazing job. They made him into a star without having to fight any of the best. You can't ask for any more than that from your management team. Ajana Haney, Jake versus Tank is crazy mismatch weight classes. But Ryan will be a better matchup for Jake. I mean, you in a way, you kind of contradicting yourself because Ryan and Tank fought each other not that long ago. So if Tank could fight Ryan, how he could not fight Jake Paul? Remember that there's such thing as a catch weight. They could meet up at a catch weight and fight easily. And even if it's not at a catch weight, they could do an exhibition and fight at whatever way at an open weight. Gabe Rivera, you know nobody wants the smoke with the assassin Norman. Norman versus Barrios, so we can finally see Boots versus Norman. You see? Brian Norman Jr. versus Mario Barrios, that's a good fight too. But I got Brian Norman Jr. beating Barrios, to be honest. Out of those three champions, out of the four, because Boots and Stanionis haven't fought yet, right? So out of Boots, Stanionis, Barrios, and Brian Norman Jr., Barrios is the weakest link. Barrios is the guy that I see losing to Boots, losing to Stanionis, or losing to Brian Norman Jr. Boss for game. Yeah, Mario Barrios is a warrior. He fought the who's who, Thurman, Tank, and Ugas. Yeah, Barrios is a warrior. I believe if the money's right, he'll fight anybody. JJ's in there. I hear you. Duck knees. Ajana Haney. That will be a good fight. Ernest Morales. Tank versus Jake will sell, but hardcore fans won't want it. I mean, just because it's Tank fighting, a lot of people will watch. It'll sell. And we'll watch it because we have to see, just the curiosity because of the size difference, we would watch it. Is it gonna be a real fight? Is it gonna be an exhibition? I don't know. Because remember, an exhibition could just be at an open weight, whatever weight class. But I don't know. To me, that's crazy work. For Tank Davis to only be 30 years old and looking to fight a YouTuber instead of fighting any of the best fighters out there. Like, it's like you still doing this shit. You still finding ways around to not fight Shakur, to not fight Tio, to not fight Devin. You still finding somebody else? God damn. I'm not feeling it, my people. I'm not feeling it, my people. So today, I've been on a little diet and all that, but today I'm breaking down, my people. Got me some French fries, a little burrito, and all that. But talk to me, man. Like, who's out here? I seen somebody already. I already seen somebody who said, yeah, let Tank get his money. Like, I've been said this, my peoples, that there will be Tank Davis fans who support it. Like, yeah, it's cool. He could fight. He could fight Jake Paul. Go get your money. Tank Davis fans want him to fight everybody but the best. Crazy work. Ayana Haney. But people don't want to accept he's more than a YouTuber. I mean, you could say he's more than a YouTuber, but how talented is he? A C-level fighter at best? Because Ayana, you got to remember, he got beat up by Tommy Fury. Tommy Fury is not even ranked in any of the sanctioning bodies. Tommy Fury is like a part-time boxer, and he beat up Jake Paul. So come on now. How serious can we really take him? Boss for game. It's like Tank doesn't want to risk losing his O unless he's making $1.9 trillion and gets 5 Lamborghinis. He's putting the right conditions to make sure it don't happen. Leo, whose Tank division record is better than his? What record? Who told you that the record decides who's better? Who told you that? Who's the best that Tank fought? He didn't fight. He hasn't fought Shakur, and Shakur's right there calling him out. Is that the excuses that you got, that he got the better record? Don't you know there's people out there with 30 wins who you don't know anybody who they beat? Ajana Haney, true, but Jake gotten better. He's gotten better, but he's still a bum. Come on, Ajana Haney, let's keep it 100. Jake is a bum. I think the rematch with Tommy, then we can see. We don't need a rematch. Tommy beat his ass. Tommy whooped him. It's not like he got robbed. He got beat up. Gay Rivera. Yeah, Fury a bouncer. C. At best, no disrespect. Love more Hinduism. Tommy Fury, a D-class fighter. And imagine, Tommy Fury's a D-class fighter and beat up Jake Paul. That tells you how good Jake Paul actually is. Hash bad. Tio and Devin are 147. Those fights versus Tank is gone. They only gone because you don't want Tank to fight them. Tank is able to move up. Tank is able to go to a catch weight. I know that you don't believe it because you don't want Tank to fight any of the best. But he could go to a catch weight. I know that he's been ducking those guys for years, and he ducked them when they were in the same weight class. He could still meet them at a catch weight. He's ducking. You don't got to help him duck. It's because of fans like you that Tank don't got to fight the best. El refresco, póngalo ahí. En la nevera, está bien. Boss for game. So what if you lose? It is what is run it back and make money. I mean, listen. When a fighter loses, I don't go into discredit mode. I don't go into try to knock him and he's a hype job and all that crazy stuff. When a fighter loses, if the best keep fighting the best fighters lose. That happens. I don't discredit fighters at all for losing. The best fighters ever, historical wise, lost multiple times. Hash bash, you're right, Mr. Smith. Accolades and records don't mean they're better. Nobody was talking about accolades and records. But okay. Charles Mills, absolutely right. R30, Jace needs to get that fight back on with Fury. That's right. If Fury beat your ass, go fight him. Go give him the rematch. This is what ruins the sport of boxing, my people. You have all these guys wanting to fight a champion. The champion ducks them for years. Tank ducked Shakur, ducked Teofimo, ducked Devin for years. Now he want to fight 37-year-old Loma because he ducked him too. And he's going to fight Jake Paul? That shit would be crazy. Crazy. You're not fighting the best, but you're fighting a YouTuber? That's crazy. And Hash Bash, that's what make you sound even more crazy. You're talking about they at 147, so those fights is gone. And this dude plan on fighting Jake Paul, who weighs over 200 pounds. Come on now. Be for real, brother. Be for real. Leo, Tank fights is fire. Nobody touching a Tank fight. He the top dog. You see, but right there you're talking like a fanager. You're talking about a fanager. We not Tank managers. We not making money off of Tank. I don't care how much, where's his position with popularity as far as him being the top dog. I want him to see him fight the best. And he's not doing that. That's the reality. We all know it. We all know he been ducking Shakur for years and years. Yeah, we try to act like we don't know. We try to act like it's not obvious that he's not trying to fight the best. Ajana Haney. I think Jake gotten better. People can hate him, but does not change the fact that he got potential. I mean, Ajana, I don't know what potential is it that you see in a fighter who's 0-1 versus professional boxers. What exactly potential do you see? I don't understand it. When you say potential, what exactly do you mean? Look, you see heart. If he has heart, why has he not fought boxers? Why with all that heart he went and fought washed up Mike Tyson? Why is he fighting people who can't fight, who are retired, who practice a different sport? Jake Paul's fooling you. Jake Paul is fooling you, but he's not fooling me. He's not fooling me. He got you thinking he got heart. If he had heart, he would have been fighting real boxers. Not retired boxers and retired MMA fighters and other YouTubers and retired basketball players. The people he fighting telling me he don't got no heart. I'm just going by that. He KO'd two guys who have a pro record. That's irrelevant. You know who he KO'd. Say the names. That's why you say two guys. Say the names of who he KO'd. Come on. Come on. Punisher. I missed almost the whole live. But what are your thoughts on Tank versus Paul? My brother, I think Tank Davis versus Paul is just crazy work. It's crazy work. I can't believe that Tank Davis at 30 years old is still finding a way to not fight any of the best. I don't get it. Still not trying to fight any of the best. Hash Bash, at one time, Taylor was the man who could have offered anybody a shot at the title, but cherry picked Cambosos. That has absolutely nothing to do with Tank Davis ducking everybody. I don't know why you want to try to say it about Cambosos when, by the way, Cambosos was actually Teofimo's mandatory. In case you didn't know, Cambosos was Teofimo's mandatory. Teofimo took that fight to defend his title. You see the difference between fighting a mandatory, but Tank Davis, since he got that Mickey Mouse belt, guess what? The secondary title doesn't get a mandatory. You just cherry pick whoever you want for your whole career with that secondary title because you don't get no mandatories. Don't ever forget that, bro. Teofimo had to fight Cambosos to defend the title. Tank Davis just keep cherry picking his whole career because he don't get no mandatories with that secondary Mickey Mouse belt he got. Let's be for real now. Let's be for real. The Mexican G, Jake Paul fans are middle school white boys that don't know shit about boxing. That will represent the majority of his fan base. That will represent a large crowd of his fan base. Punisher, Tank willing to fight Paul, but putting rehydration clause on fighters. That's how they be moving over there. That's how they be moving, my people. Matt Gomez, couldn't agree more. I guess they had a reason he didn't give an invite. Tank on that Mayweather time with really earning it. Yo, they on that Mayweather stuff. They on that Mayweather stuff. Ajana Haney, he won't fight Shakur instead of Paul. I mean, Tank Davis been ducking Shakur for 2-3 years at this point. He not trying to fight Shakur. Love no Hinduism. Tank versus Paul for that turkey belt. That would be crazy. That would be crazy. Hash Bash. Who's Shakur mandatory right now? Zepeda. Zepeda is the mandatory. And they're about to go to purse bid. So if Zepeda won, he could go to purse bid and take the fight. And they're going to fight. If Zepeda drop out of the purse bid, he ducked. And then we'll see after that. But every time Tank Davis come up with a funny ass move, Tank Davis trying to fight a YouTuber, you're always bringing up Shakur. Like, we're not even talking about Shakur, but you're bringing him up. Looking for a way to hate on Shakur. Come on, Hash Bass. You do it every time Tank Davis come up. Try to find a way to hate on Shakur. It's Tank trying to fight a YouTuber, not Shakur. Ajana Haney, if they do fight Jake versus Tank, I want y'all opinion on who wins. I mean, not Tank Davis is going to win that fight. Like, there's no questions. If they actually fight, Tank is going to beat him. Because, listen, Jake is obviously size-wise a lot bigger. But skills-wise, he's like 4 or 5 levels below Tank Davis. So, it's not happening. He cannot beat Tank. The Mexican G, Zepeda looked awful his last fight. Man, well, listen. When I saw his last fight, I said to myself, Shakur is going to do Zepeda the same way he did Valdez. He's going to make him look bad. You're just going to beat him up and make it look easy. Hash Bash, you're mentioning Shakur by saying Tank is ducking him. But Tank is ducking him. You know that and I know that. We both know that. You're talking about Shakur's mandatory. Shakur's mandatory is about to duck him too. Ernest Morales. Paul basically has sold his popularity as skills to fool the fans. It's like fans don't separate the difference between popularity and skills. Jake Paul is a C-level fighter at best. Jake Paul is never going to win versus a top-tier fighter. That's why you still see him fighting people who are either retired or people who don't box. There's a reason for that. So he can look good versus these people. He can look good against 60-year-old Mike Tyson. Good stuff. Very smart. He's selling. You know, Jake Paul found a formula to make money and convince people that he's good. That he's good. He's not good. He's not a good boxer at all. Ajana Haney, Jake Paul, yeah, look, his stardom, his superstardom came from YouTube. That's why he's able to do so good in boxing, because his fan base follows him and they support him. If he fights, a lot of them are going to watch. But his popularity doesn't mean that he's good. Now, I tell you what, Ajana Haney, listen to this. If somebody who's never trained in boxing, who hasn't been in the gym, spars with Jake Paul, they're going to get their ass whooped. He knows how to box. He learned how to box. Talent-wise, skills-wise, he's a C-level fighter at best. That's why you see who he's fighting against. Matt Gomez. Jake is going to put so many stipulations and contract loopholes that he's going. Yo, listen, like a WWE contract. The one time got in the ring with B-level fighter like Fury brother. You see what I'm saying? My man's got beat up by Tommy Fury, bro. If you're getting beat up by Tommy Fury, what level are you on? He ain't know that, my peoples. We should all know this. Flip. I think Shakur is a good little fighter, but he needs to learn how to slip punches. Listen to the way, Flip, that you categorize Shakur. A good little fighter. A good little fighter. You know, at 27 years old, he's a three division champion, unified titles as well, beat more reigning champions than Tank Davis, but he's a good little fighter. Come on, bro. And by the way, you're talking about what you think that he should slip punches. Yes, Shakur is the hardest fighter to hit in boxing. The guy who takes the least punishment, who gets hit less than everybody else in boxing. So I think he's doing pretty good with his defense. You're talking about he needs to learn how to do this. His defense is pretty good. This is the best defense in the game, my brother. The stats back me up. Hash Bass. Jake is an entertainer who's using boxing to entertain, but is not a boxer. I mean, I think he's a boxer, just a low-level boxer. He isn't as good as he think he is. Guys, can you guys hear me? Let me know if y'all can hear me. I was getting a phone call. By little, I mean lightweight. Flip, you're saying by little, you mean lightweight. But look at Shakur's size. Shakur's going to be able to fight at 140, and he'll be able to go at 147. If anything, you could say Tank is a good little fighter, because he's little as hell. And there's a cap to how many divisions he'll be able to go up. Flip, but he doesn't slip punches. He just runs backwards, is what I'm saying. Now, he don't just run backwards. He slip a lot of punches, too. It's just that he's more popular, and that narrative that he's a runner makes it more popular to say that he just backs up. But nah, Shakur is very good at slipping punches. Very good. Ajana Haney. Jake is getting better, but he got potential. He being more money to boxing since that Mike fight. So you see, that's why you keep mixing up two things, Ajana Haney. You're talking about his potential, and you're talking about money. Let's forget about money, because that's when I say people like to be managers. People like to focus on how much money this person's bringing in. None of us are getting paid. None of us are getting any money from Jake Paul. So what is really the relevance about the money that he's bringing? It's irrelevant. So it's just about the skills. You keep saying that he got potential, but what have you seen inside the ring to show you that he got potential, other than him get beat up by Tommy Fury and then fight retired Mike Tyson? There isn't anything there to talk about that potential that you're talking about. I don't see it. Ajana Haney, as a fighter, he got heart. He could have quit. I mean, he could have quit versus who? He's fighting 60-year-old people and non-boxers. That's easy work. That's easy work, Ajana Haney. Come on now. Punisher. Let's keep it a buck. Jake is slowly but surely becoming the GOAT of boxing. Oh damn, that's some master level troll right there. Flip, they are all little. Ajana Haney, easy work for a bum. Jacob bum, though. Ernest Morales, buen provecho. Muchas gracias, manito mío. Ajana Haney, not true. Punisher, just kidding. Ajana Haney, Jake is not. Jake is a bum. He's definitely a bum. Five Line Leon, get out. Jump Param. Burrito making. Yo. And this is that real burrito right here. We on burrito mode, my peoples. Jake is a bum. Everybody that knows what's really going on, Jake is a bum. He's trolling y'all. If you think Jake got potential at John Haney, yo, he got you fooled. He got you. He got you. You want to talk about potential? Abdullah Mason has potential. Potential. Kermel Moulton has potential. Zachary Moses has potential. Go look at their fights. Go look at their mechanics. Go look at their hand speed, their punch placement. And then go look at Jake Paul and tell me again that he has potential. Look at the people who actually have potential to become champions and compare their skills levels to Jake Paul and see if he actually got potential like you're saying. That's crazy work. I don't know nobody out there saying, yo, he got potential. Like, you're the first one, Ajana Haney, saying that. That shit sound crazy. Ajana Haney, I got your point, but Jake ain't a pony rider. I mean, he's fighting retired people and non-boxers. What is it that you're seeing in Jake Paul? What is it that you're seeing? He hasn't beat a single professional boxer. And you're talking about potential. Come on. Come on. Flip. I got Shakur beating everybody except for Tank. Tank and Ryan. And I think Tank and Ryan, it will be 50-50 fights. That's reasonable, but I will tell you, Ryan duck Shakur, Tank duck Shakur. So, you might believe that they could beat Shakur, but they don't believe they could beat Shakur. Dixie Norman's. Chisora should retire. I agree with that. He's taking a lot of punishment. And I don't want to see him be one of these guys who are punch drunk. Messed up in the game and shit. I agree with that. Ajana Haney, Devin sent him a contract. If you're talking about Shakur, keep telling the story. Devin sent him a contract. Shakur took him the purse bid. And Devin Haney dropped the titles and ran from the division to avoid fighting Shakur. We know who ducked. We know who ducked, for sure. Ajana Haney, you gotta tell the story as it happened. You can't say Devin Haney's part and then skip till he moved up. Because the way it really happened is that Devin Haney sent an offer. Shakur didn't accept the offer. Shakur was his mandatory, and Shakur enforced the mandatory. And then when they were going to go to purse bid, about 3 to 4 days before the purse bid, Devin Haney said, nope, I changed my mind. I'm leaving the division. I'm moving up. That's how you know that fake offer that he sent Shakur was never real. You talk about he sent an offer. If he sent an offer, why did he run from the division right after sending that offer? Sent an offer and ran from the division right after it. Do you really believe in that offer? You think about it. Did he really want to fight Shakur? Yet he didn't want to go to purse bid? Come on now. That's easy. That's easy to see that Devin Haney ducked Shakur. My boy really dropped his title and ran from the whole division to avoid fighting Shakur. Shakur's the boogeyman. That man is the boogeyman. Leo. Leo 74. Shakur gets booed. John Parham. Mason will be the face of boxing, in my opinion, in 3 years. I think 3 years is a little bit too soon. Ajana Haney. But he moved up while Shakur was his mandatory. It was either defend the title versus Shakur or get the hell out of the division. He left the division. He left the division. And what makes it interesting that you want to keep holding on to he moved up. But he had just sent, didn't you just say that he sent an offer? You just said that he sent an offer, right? So why send an offer if you was moving up? You tell me, Ajana Haney. You just brought up that he sent an offer. Exactly, he sent an offer. So why you skipping the part about the purse bid? You seem to be skipping that part and having, memories as you want to have them as opposed to as they happen. You don't have to keep repeating that he moved up. We all know that he moved up. But why do I have to repeat to you that Devin Haney ran from the purse bid when he could have fought Shakur? And he could have fought Shakur for the same amount of money that he was offering him. Okay, so if he's been in 135 for too long, why do you want to believe that that offer was real? It's like you only want to believe everything in Devin Haney's favor. The offer was real. But he also had to leave the division. Both of those things can be real, my peoples. Either the offer was real and he could have stayed and fought, or the offer was fake and he was leaving the division. You tell me. But it was a real offer and he had to leave the division. I don't know, but 2 plus 2 cannot be 5. 2 plus 2 is 4. Look how you make your perspective 100% in Devin Haney's favor. You're arguing that he sent an offer, but you're also arguing that he had to leave the division. It can't be both, my people. Did he want to fight or did he want to leave the division? Come on. Even Bill Haney was caught on video saying that they don't want to fight Shakur, man. Bill Haney was caught on video saying we don't want to fight Shakur. What are you not understanding, Ajana Haney, about the fact that Devin Haney held his titles undisputed until Shakur became his mandatory? Simple as that. I'm only telling you the facts. Devin Haney held his undisputed crown until Shakur Stevenson deboed him out of the division. Shakur Stevenson deboed him out of his title and out of the division. Get out of here. My boy abruptly announced that he was leaving the division right before the purse bid. We know what's going on. Spent his whole life ducking Shakur, finally had to run from the division when Shakur became his mandatory. The facts are there. The dates are there. Punisher. Farmer never been finished in all his losses. He can take punishment and has some respectable power. Let's give credit to that as well. Every fighter is different. Let's see how Zepeda and Shakur match up. Farmer is a top level fighter. He's also been on the bad end of some funny decisions. Like it looked like he won, but they gave him a loss. I respect Farmer. Now, when it comes to Shakur versus Zepeda, I don't think that fight is going to happen. Honestly, I don't think that fight is going to happen. Ajana Haney, we're not forgetting Devin made him give up in sparring. I don't even know what you're talking about. That's a fake story made up out of thin air. Gervonta Maris Jr., if you ask me, they all need to stop ducking. The sanctions need to make mandatory fights on start making brackets to see who is the best in the division. I mean, look, man, we have to see that ducking is basically a part of the sport. Superman. Smith, what's good? What's the deal, my brother? Ajana, Devin never made Shakur quit. That's not a fact. All those videos are old. We all seen them a million times. Devin never made Shakur quit. That's not a fact. Shakur Stevenson makes stuff up out of thin air, spread it amongst each other. Shakur Stevenson haters make stuff up out of thin air, spread it amongst each other, and then y'all talk about it like it's the truth. That never happened. Leo, Tank is the best. The fans have voted with their pocketbooks. You see, that's what you don't understand, Leo, that you gotta learn. What the fans voted with their pocketbooks is that Tank is the most popular. Not the most. Canelo's more popular than Tank. But Tank money shows popularity. It doesn't show who's the best. That's the problem with Tankomaniacs. Tankomaniacs think it's about the money. You know, they be fanagers. They want to be managers and argue about who makes more money. But at the end of the day, Tank ducked Shakur, ducked Devin Haney, ducked Teofimo. That's just the reality. So Hash Bash, you say you don't understand why Tank and Shakur don't be each other's mandatory. Very simple. The moment Shakur went up to 135, he became a champion. If you're a champion in one sanctioning body, and I'm a champion in a different sanctioning body, we'll never become mandatory for each other. We have to decide to make the fights because we're in different sanctioning bodies. Furthermore, all these years, Tank Davis been a secondary title holder. And guess what? The secondary title holder doesn't get mandatories. That's why they love that secondary title. That's why they went after Barrios' secondary title at 140. At this point, Tank Davis is the secondary undisputed champion. Secondary title holders don't get mandatories. That's why Tank could cherry pick whoever he wants. Guillermo Medes Jr., Farmer's a beast. SS don't want Zepeda. His workload is overload. Farmer and William Zepeda should run it back again. Classic fight. Yo, Farmer and William Zepeda was a great fight. But I will tell you, William Zepeda definitely won that last fight. When I saw Farmer like looking like he was confused or upset at the end, I was like, what are you talking about, bro? You got beat up. Farmer had a very few good rounds at the end. He started making some adjustments, be more defensively oriented, and he did real good in those last few rounds. But he lost that fight. He definitely lost that fight. Got beat up. Flip. Hey, Jay, put the Cash App in the chat, and let's get the likes up. Appreciate it, my peoples. Everybody who hit them likes, appreciate it. I'm going to have Super Chat soon. Still working on it, but I'm going to have that Super Chat soon. Ajana Haney, Tank don't want to accept that he won't fight Shakur. I mean, he don't want to fight Shakur for whatever his reason is. I mean, I think I know why he don't want to fight Shakur. I know why he don't want to fight Shakur. You know he going to take that loss. Hash Bass. Is Tank a secondary champion at 135? I mean, they try to email him the regular title. I don't know whatever happened with that. But have you seen Tank be a champion in the division? No. I remember last year they were saying they were going to email him the super champion belt or whatever. Ajana Haney, why y'all Tank fans skipping past that? Punisher, who you have winning in both Zepeda versus Farmer matches? No way Farmer won. Nah. I had Zepeda winning both fights. I had him winning close on the first one And the second one I had him winning by a wider margin. Flip. Hey Jay, how much is Shakur paying you? I mean, how much is he paying me for telling the truth? You tell me, what have I said about Shakur that is not true? Just tell me one thing that I said that is not true. Flip. I mean, R30. Is that a homemade burrito, my guy? Nah, it's not homemade. Taco Bell. I have to rock with Taco Bell today, you know. Fucking up with the diet for one day. JJ said that has they tried to email Tank that belt, but his internet was down. A funny thing is that they said they didn't want that belt, but I don't know whatever ended up happening. But what I want you to keep in mind is that they like being secondary champion because they don't get no mandatory. Hashbash Shakur fought for a vacant title at 135. I mean, what else is he gonna do if everybody's ducking him? If nobody wants to fight him, what else is he gonna do? Flip, just kidding. Thanks for allowing people in the chat to have their own opinion as long as they keep it on topic and most importantly, respectful. And for that, you're a real one. Oh, no doubt, my brother. I appreciate it. You know, I don't expect everybody to agree with me. And when there's disagreement, that makes for an interesting debate, for an interesting conversation. You know, as long as we keep it respectful, we don't gotta attack each other, we don't gotta disrespect each other. But that's what it's all about. Everybody expressing their own opinion. Ayana Haney, why y'all hating on Shakur? Y'all always got something to say. R30, peeps need to get a grip on the obvious. Tank is a habitual ducker. That's a fact, bro. Leo, nobody tells Tank what to do. He's that guy, and the haters is pissed. You see, Leo, that's the thing. You're saying the haters is pissed. But why is it that Tankomaniacs or Tank Davis fans don't want him to fight any of the best? Why y'all don't want him to fight the best? I don't understand that. It's like the same people that be telling me, yo, Canelo need to fight Benavidez and this fighter need to fight that fighter. Like, y'all want everybody to fight the best. But when it's Tank Davis, nah, you know, Tank Davis is making the most money. Y'all become managers and shit. Tank Davis making the most money and he putting butts in seats. And it's like, yo, what the hell does this even have anything to do with the fact that he not fighting the best at 30 years old? What are we talking about? JJ Zendejas. Back in the day, I seen fighters pull a belt out of the trash can, literally. Ajana Haney. That's why he won't do it. Leo. Tank is the best. How can he fight himself? Yo, you see, Leo, you going real Tankomaniac mode. Because fighting the best means that there are other people who are at a high level. The best in the divisions that he's been in, he didn't fight them. He was in the same division with Devin Haney, with Teofimo Lopez, with Ryan Garcia. No, not with Ryan Garcia. Devin Haney, Teofimo Lopez, Shakur Stevenson, and Lomachenko. And didn't fight any of them. He 30 years old. For how long you gonna keep... Yo, Leo, for how long you gonna keep looking away every time Tank Davis bring a smaller opponent from the 130 division? Like Lamont Roach, like Androide Garcia. For how much time you gonna look the other way when Tank Davis fight a guy who never fought for a title, like Pitbull, like Frank Martin, like Ryan Garcia? Come on now, man. When y'all gonna start saying, yo, damn, he not fighting any of the top dogs? That's all you got, that he's the top dog, so there ain't nobody for him to fight? Come on, man. Come on, man. No wonder he could cherry pick. Y'all support that shit. Punisher. People were talking bad about Shakur because he don't get finishes and let his hands go. Then let his hands go and finish Padley. And they were still talking about him, though. Oh, you know, Padley, But and I get it because when the haters want to hate, they're always gonna look for something. So with Padley is like he's a replacement fighter. He only had 15 wins. He wasn't a full time boxer. You know they got to bring that up. But with Tank Davis, they don't bring anything up about his opponents. I don't get it. Ajana Haney, y'all Tank fans, annoying. Leo, when Shakur fight Keyshawn, then you have an argument. Don't be hypocritical. You see, that's another Tank maniac comeback. You already know that Keyshawn Davis have a certain level of friendship. They both said they're not fighting each other, and you calling for Shakur Davis to fight Keyshawn. Look at that. You're calling for Shakur Davis to fight Keyshawn for somebody to have something to say, but you're not calling for Tank to fight nobody. Now, that's beyond hypocritical, which I've been saying. That's what makes y'all so hypocritical. Y'all want other people to fight great fighters, but you never call for Tank to fight great fighters. That's hypocrisy at a very high level, my brother. You're always pointing at somebody else and always looking away from Tank. That's crazy work. That's crazy work. Shame on you, Leo. Shame on you and other Tank fans for demanding everybody fight the best except Tank. Y'all don't want Tank to fight the top dogs. Y'all don't want Tank to fight the reigning champions. No. Y'all want him to fight, but y'all want other people to fight the best. That's crazy. That's crazy work, my brother. Superman. It's sad at this point. Yo, it's beyond sad. It's beyond sad to see how Tank Davis fans, they always calling for everybody else to fight the best. But Tank don't need to fight the best. They don't talk about who Tank needs to fight. That's crazy. That's crazy work. Ajana Haney, what do you Tank do if he fights Shakur? I mean, if he fights Shakur, he's going to lose by unanimous decision. That's why they're avoiding him like the plague. They're not trying to fight him. There's a reason for that. Hash Bash, we thought we were getting Tank versus Loma, but Loma ducked. Well, Hash Bash, that's what I like about you, that you always hold on to one little snippet of the whole story. You forgot that Tank Davis been ducking Lomachenko for the last 5 years, and now that he's 37 years old, he want to fight Lomachenko, right? So for 5 years, you didn't call Tank a duck for ducking Lomachenko blatantly, but now you call Lomachenko a duck. I like the way you could fast forward a story to tell the little part that you want to tell and then skip the rest. With Devin Haney and Shakur, you rewind the story and tell the little piece that you want and skip the ending of how that ended up. I like how you do that. You know, you don't take the full story, you take a little snippet and you hold on to that one. Come on now. Come on now. Come on now. Do I need to refer you to the videos of Floyd Mayweather saying, nah, Tank don't need to fight Lomachenko. Lomachenko's in a hurry because he's getting old. He's in a hurry. He's getting old. We don't have no rush to fight him. And now, think about that. Add the numbers up. 5 years ago, 4 or 5 years ago, look at the video. Floyd Mayweather was saying that Loma's getting old and that's why he's in a hurry to fight Tank. Tank in his mid-20s, dead in his prime. Lomachenko in his early 30s, still in his prime. They didn't want it. You never said Tank was a duck and ducked Lomachenko for 4 or 5 years. Now you're calling Lomachenko a duck because he wanted to take a break at 37 years old. That's crazy work. That's crazy work, bro. D. Willer. Devin Teo already beat Loma. What the fuck is the point of Tank fighting him? Tank's so weak. But that's what I'm saying. He didn't want to fight him back then when Loma was beating everybody up. Now he want to fight 37-year-old Loma who's been inactive for over a year. Now he want to fight him. This is like the pure definition of trying to age a fighter out. That's why Tank is always going to duck Teofimo, Devin, and Shakur. He can't age them out. They're all younger than him. You're not gonna age Shakur out. He 27 years old. You 30. About to be 31. You cannot age none of these guys out. So all you got left is to duck them. Lomachenko, now you want to fight him at 38 years old. And Hashbaz got the balls to say, nah, he ducking Loma. Damn, you didn't say that he was a duck when Loma was trying to get that fight for years and they didn't want it. Come on now. Hashbaz, 5 years ago, Tank wasn't seasoned. Just like Abdullah, it's nice, but needs to be seasoned. Yo, Hashbaz, that's what make your train of thought funny. 5 years ago, Tank, and it was actually 4 years ago. At 26 years old, Tank wasn't seasoned. You comparing 26-year-old Tank Davis to 21-year-old Abdullah Mason? Your math is not adding up, bro. How you comparing a guy that's 26 in his mid-20s when fighters be in their prime to a 21-year-old kid? By the way, Abdullah Mason turned 21 like 2 days ago. Just turned 21. And you comparing Tank Davis to that. Look how delusional that sounds. You consider that. Abdullah Mason turned 21 years ago, 21-year-old on Saturday a few days ago. Tank Davis was 26 when Loma was trying to get him. So do your math again, my brother. And that's a horrible comparison. Because nobody believed that a 20-year-old kid is in his prime. By 26 years old, Tank was already a champion. Yo, I'll put it to you like this, my brother. It takes a real tankomaniac to say that Tank, who was already a 2-division champion, wasn't seasoned. A 26-year-old 2-division champion wasn't seasoned? What are we doing? What are we talking about here? Come on, man. When you try to defend too hard, you're going to say some goofy shit, bro. Tank wasn't seasoned at 26 years old? Look in the mirror and say that shit so you can see how you look in the face. Look in the mirror and say, yo, 26-year-old Tank, who was a 2-division champion, wasn't seasoned for Loma. What? Come on, bro. That's why I tell you, when it comes to Tank Davis, y'all be coming with the goofy excuses. He wasn't seasoned at 26 years old. But Canelo was seasoned at 23 to fight Floyd, though, right? Canelo was seasoned at 23 to fight Floyd. But Tank Davis was not seasoned at 26. Yo, by 26 years old, Shakur Stevenson was a multi-division champion. Devin Haney was a unified. It's not even 26 and it was already a unified champion. Teofimo Lopez was a multi-division champion, unified champion. And by 26 years old, Tank Davis was not seasoned? What the fuck are we talking about here? You see how y'all be wildin' out? My boy said Tank Davis was not seasoned at 26 years old. Bro, come on, man. Come on, man. That's crazy work. JJ's in the house. It's better for him to turn off the lights and then look in the mirror. Like, yo, you got to look in the mirror and repeat that shit so you see how goofy that shit sounds. Now, when he was 26, he only won titles in 2 divisions, but he wasn't seasoned yet. Like, yo, if you look in the mirror and say that shit to yourself, maybe the facial expression that you have is going to tell you how crazy that shit sound. That he wasn't seasoned. But now that Lomachenko is 37 years old, now he wants to fight him. So look at the thinking of a Tank Davis fan. When Tank Davis ducked, he wasn't seasoned. At 26 years old, he wasn't seasoned. At 27 years old, he wasn't seasoned. Now he's seasoned at 30, 31. What are we talking about here? Have we ever seen a 26-year-old fighter who's not seasoned? Who had an amateur pedigree? Who won national titles as an amateur? Who's been professional for years? Who won titles in multiple divisions? But he wasn't seasoned? Yo, Hashbaz. Come on, man. Come on. Come on. Well, if it's me and you talking, you know you can't say crazy shit like that, man. You could say, like, when you talking to the average casual fans, you could say that. But you're going to say that to me, bro? Come on. Superman. But he been fighting forever. Delusional. Imagine that. 26-year-old Tank wasn't seasoned. Who would say some crazy shit like that? Punisher. Hash Bass, Punisher. I get why they still critique him even after he got stoppage. I give Shakur the benefit of the doubt, but I keep it 100. I don't give him credit for getting a finish against Padley for some valid reasons. I mean, it's reasonable to not want to give him credit for stopping Padley. That's okay. He did what, Padley was a replacement opponent who was game, who was about it, who went there to fight, gave it his best. Shakur did what he was supposed to do and beat him. That's the way it played out. Hash Bass. I remember Ward wanted Shakur to slow down and say he probably could beat the champion, but wanted him to be more seasoned. And when Floyd fought Canelo, and Canelo had the same amount of fights. But what do you talk? What? Look at this. We're talking about 26-year-old Tank Davis, and you done in your response brought up Andre Ward, Shakur Stevenson, and Floyd Mayweather. You bring up everybody but Tank Davis. That's crazy work, bro. That's crazy work. 26-year-old Tank Davis was not seasoned. I'm telling you, look in a mirror in your house somewhere and say that shit to yourself so you can see how your face look while you saying it, bro. Ajana Haney. Like I said, Tank fans always got some BS to say for Shakur. Yo, Tank Davis fans, they masters when it comes to mental gymnastics. Rather than address the point, they talk about everybody else and everything else that got nothing to do with the fact that Tank Davis ducked Lomachenko for years. For years. And now he want to fight him at 37 years old. Hash Bass bringing up Shakur and Andre Ward said Shakur didn't duck nobody. You see the way Tank Davis ducked Lomachenko? Shakur didn't duck Lomachenko. So there's no point in you bringing that up. Other than the usual mental gymnastics, let's get the attention away from Tank Davis duck tactics. Come on, man. Stop it. Superman. Except John. He keep it real. Ajana Haney. Leave him alone. Floyd already did good. But Tank fans gotta see the truth. Yo, Tank Davis fans refuse to see the truth. My people, I got 16 likes, man. Help me get to 20 likes at least. But yo, Shakur haters and Tank fans, which is usually the same group, the same clique, they refuse to see that Tank Davis be ducking. They always got an excuse. Look at this new excuse. He wasn't seasoned to fight Loma. A 26-year-old world champion of multiple divisions wasn't seasoned? Come on, man. You can't be serious. You can't believe what you're saying. Hash Bash. Shakur had two choices in a replacement fight, but chose the weaker of the two. You saying Shakur had two choices, that's not true. That's something that you make up because you want to keep hating on Shakur. He didn't have no two choices. You don't know who was closer to making weight, who guaranteed that they could make weight come fight night. You don't know that. I know you wanted him to pick somebody else because you're always trying to hate on him, but when it comes to Tank Davis had a choice with Shakur Stevenson. He didn't sign the contract. Lamont Roach was a cherry pick gone wrong, but you knew that. Rather than pick Shakur, he picked a guy from the 130 division to move up and fight him. But you knew that. You knew that, and you keep pointing at Shakur, Floyd Mayweather, Andre Ward. You want to talk about everybody except Tank Davis ducking everybody. That's the reality. Hash Bass. It's true. And you don't know that either. So why would you make up something that you don't even know? That's the point. We both don't know. There's no need to make up stuff that we don't know. But that's what happened when you hate somebody so much. You make up stuff out of thin air and just float it out there, hoping it sticks. But with Tank Davis, we do know that he haven't fought any of the best. We do know that he could have fought Lomachenko at 26 and 27 years old and ducked. But you keep pointing at everybody else, bro. Why you keep pointing at everybody else except Tank Davis duck moves? I don't understand. D. Willer. I got a homie that's a tankomaniac. We got one of the biggest tankomaniacs in here right now. I told him Tank good, but not great because he won't fight the top guys. And he said, why would he? He can't do what he wants. I haven't talked to him about boxing since. There you go. If you're talking about now, he could do whatever he wants. That's it. There ain't nothing else to talk about. You're a fanatic. You're a tankomaniac. So no matter what, you're gonna argue in Tank Davis' favor. Tank Davis could fight Jake Paul next, and y'all gotta find. We already have somebody here saying, "Yo, yeah, he could fight Jake Paul because he gotta get the bag." Already justifying that. So that's what tankomaniacs do. That's just tankomaniac logic. Hash Bass, they mentioned the two choices that Shakur had. They mentioned. But I'm telling you the choices Tank Davis had, and you talk about he wasn't seasoned. Tank Davis was also 27 years old. Lomachenko didn't know for the fight once. They tried to make the fight 3-4 times. When Tank Davis was 27 years old, they tried to make the fight. And Floyd said no. He still wasn't seasoned at 27. What? By the way, Hash Bass, at what age did you decide that Tank Davis was seasoned? Enlighten me, my brother. You enlighten me and the rest of us who are in here. At what age did you decide that Tank Davis was seasoned? I would love to hear that. Put me on, my brother. Help me understand. D. Willer, that's a Tank fan for you. Oh my God, yo, the Tankomaniac mode in full effect. Superman, get these likes up, my people. We got 17 likes. Let's get to 20, man. Real talk. John Parham, Tank should have took the fight at 27. It was offered. You know, since Hash Bass says that Tank wasn't seasoned at 26 when he was already a 2-division champion, I want Hash Bass to tell me by when was Tank finally seasoned? Like, what the hell? So he was a 26-year-old prospect? Like, Arch30, how could you be a real boxing fan and not notice these duck tactics by Tank? Because when you're a tankomaniac, real boxing stuff is irrelevant to you. It's all about formulating an argument that you can defend Tank with, no matter what. Punisher, did my last comment post so I can send the next? Okay, I see one, Punisher. I don't buy that shit. I understand and I agree with the people saying Shakur stopped win against Padley isn't impressive. He did what he was supposed to do. That's facts. It was a good win. It was an impressive win. But if you're a Shakur hater, you're going to diminish it. You're going to start nitpicking to diminish it. But that's to be expected. Leo, Tankomaniacs carrying boxing on their backs. I wouldn't say y'all carrying boxes on your back. I would say y'all the people who ruined the sport of boxing. Because instead of pushing one of the best fighters to fight the best, y'all keep making excuses. So because y'all back him, he doesn't have to fight the best. So y'all actually ruined the sport of boxing. Ajana Haney, Tank Maniacs, Crybaby, one hell of, Crybabies, like my man said Tank Maniacs carrying boxing on their back. Y'all ruining the sport of boxing. Y'all the reason why Tank Davis could cherry pick his whole career. Hash Bass, you said I'm the truest Tank fan and I don't like fight against Jake. That has nothing to do with you don't like the fight against Jake. As a Tankomaniac, you just sat here and said that he was not seasoned at 26 years old when he was a 2-division champion. So I'm asking you, Hash Bass, tell me at what age Tank was seasoned according to you. Get here, my brother. You say he was not seasoned at 26. Tell me, with your knowledge, when do you feel like Tank Davis was seasoned? How old was he when he was seasoned according to you? Because I asked you that question and you played dumb. You keep trying to talk, but mental gymnastics does not work with me, my brother. That's why I tell you, if you're debating with a casual fan, you could use the mental gymnastics, bring up Shakur, and bring up Andre Ward, and bring up Floyd Mayweather, bring up everybody, bring up Jake Paul. But the mental gymnastics don't work with me, my brother. I hold you to your comments. You said that Tank Davis was not seasoned at 26 years old. So I'm asking you, by when do you think that he was seasoned? Take your time, because it looks like you don't want to answer a very simple question. You know by when he was seasoned, because you told me he wasn't seasoned by 26. So clearly, You know somehow by when he was seasoned. I would love to hear it, my brother. I would love to hear. So Hash Bass, you know, you usually try to hide when I got you in the corner. Don't hide. Tell me by when he was seasoned. Superman, they definitely ruining it. Ruining the sport of boxing, yo, for real. JJ said that has Tank wants to fight Jake from State Farm. Might as well. They will support that too. Hash Bass will support that too. Leo, empty seats and fans booing ruin boxing. Packed arenas and pay-per-views keep boxing thriving. Tank is that guy. Oh, you see? Tankomaniacs are fanagers. Fanagers, if you want to be a manager, if you want to be a promoter, y'all argue like promoters. Tank Davis is never going to send you a check. You don't promote Tank Davis. So whether or not Tank Davis makes a lot of money, in this conversation, it's irrelevant. You're not getting a check. He's still a duck. No matter how much money he gets, he's still a duck. That's not going to change anything. So the mental gymnastics of bringing up the money, you're not a manager, you're not a promoter. Why are you arguing about money? Why are you bringing up money? Why? You talking in this chat is not going to get Tank Davis money in his pockets. So why be a fanager? Tank Davis fans is the only fans who be arguing about he putting butts in seats and he's selling pay-per-views and the other guy's not selling pay-per-views. Like, yo, leave those arguments to the promoters, my brother. Let the promoters focus on who's filling out arenas and who's selling pay-per-views. You and me and none of us here are promoters or managers. We're not getting a check. So the Tankomaniac mental gymnastics don't work in Box Center. When you start promoting boxers and you start managing boxers, then you can make that argument. Until then, that's irrelevant. That got nothing to do with nothing. Hash Bass. The second replacement Shakur had was Musa Golam and Josh Padley. Okay, Hash Bass, but my question to you was, when was Tank Davis seasoned? You say he wasn't seasoned at 26. I didn't ask you about Shakur. I asked you about when Tank was seasoned because you say he wasn't seasoned at 26 years old. So enlighten me, my brother. Or you keep running away from that question, type it in. Say, Jay, you know what? I made a dumb statement. I can't answer your question because it's going to look dumb when I try to say, well, he was seasoned at 29. He was seasoned at 30. Go ahead. Since you said Tank Davis wasn't seasoned when Loma was trying to fight him at 26 years old, go ahead and tell me, when was Tank Davis seasoned? Because you keep doing that. Ever since I asked you that question that puts you on the spot, nah, because Floyd Mayweather and Jake Paul and Padley and Shakur, you want to talk about everybody except when Tank was seasoned. Answer that question, Hash Bass. Stop running. Ajana Haney. Tell these Tank fans Superman. Tell them because they do the BS for the fun of it. Guillermo Maris. Jay, he ducked the question. Yo, he been ducking the question. Because he know that he looked goofy as hell talking about, nah, yo, Tank wasn't seasoned when Loma was trying to fight him. Look, look how funny Tankomaniacs are. He said that Lomachenko was ducking Tank at 37 years old. But when Tank was 26 years old, he wasn't seasoned. So now I'm asking him, okay, if he wasn't seasoned at 26 years old, go ahead and tell me when Tank Davis was seasoned. He's been crickets ever since. Been crickets ever since. And his response to my question, Shakur could have fought Padley and somebody else, but I didn't even ask him about Shakur and Padley and somebody else. Why he don't want to tell me when Tank Davis was finally seasoned according to him? Leo, is Canelo the face of boxing? Canelo is the face of boxing. Yes, that is correct. Guillermo Maris. Yo, I'm trying to tell you, man. Look how Tankomaniacs put themselves in a little corner. First, he tried to say Tank Davis was his season at 26 years old, and now all he could do is talk about everybody but Tank and duck my question. Hash Bass, when was Tank seasoned according to you? I'm still waiting, my brother. What happened? What happened? JJ's in the house. Jay Smith, I think these Tank fans might be Jenny and her uncle. Guillermo Mares Jr., Canelo been the face of boxing. Yeah, that's everybody's known. Canelo's the face of boxing by a landslide. Superman, haha, Tank garbage is top shelf. John Parham, appreciate everybody who hit that like button, my people. And I tell you, that's why when you're an extreme fan of one fighter, you look bad when you try to always defend, because you're always going to end up saying some goofy shit. Hash Bash, Tank became a champion at 22 years old. We all know he became a champion at 22 years old, Hash Bash. The question remains, when was Tank's season according to you? Is it a very hard question for you to answer? Am I asking it in a way that's confusing to you? You said that Tank was not seasoned at 26 years old. So Hash Bass, can you please tell me at what age was Tank seasoned? You see the mental gymnastic, my peoples? Tank became a champion at 22 years old. What does that got to do with Tank being 26 and you saying that he's not seasoned? When are you going to answer that question, Hash Bass? Are you going to tell us when was Tank seasoned? Because you seem to know better than us. You seem to know better than me. I'm pretty sure a fighter, a 26-year-old fighter who's been a champion for 4 years is definitely seasoned. You've been a champion for 4 years, defending your titles. You're in the peak of your physical prime. Is definitely seasoned at 26 years old. But if I'm wrong, you tell me, my brother, when Tank Davis was seasoned. Give me that age. Look at Hash Bass, my peoples. His answer was that Tank became a champion at 22. But nobody asked him when Tank Davis became a champion. So he looked for the age. He Googled the age when Tank became a champion, but they didn't tell me the age when Tank was seasoned. Still ducking the question. Still ducking the question. Everybody up in here, my brother, know why you ducking the question, by the way. Leo, is Canelo a duck? Well, if you want to say that he ducked Benavidez, you could say that. Yo, for almost every fighter out there, you could say that they duck somebody. So if you want to say that, first you asked me if Canelo was the face of boxing. Now you ask me if Canelo is a duck. So I'm asking you, did Canelo duck Lomachenko when he was 26, 27, and even 28 years old? When they tried to fight and Floyd was like, nah, we're not in a hurry for that fight? Did he duck? Hash Bass, when did Loma directly called out Tank? Oh, now you asking questions. So you don't know when Tank was seasoned? Hash Bass? Let's make it more interesting. I'll answer your question, Hash Bass, if you stop ducking my question. When was Tank seasoned? If you want to, you can write on there, well, I don't know when he was seasoned, which is going to make you look stupid because you say he wasn't seasoned at 26. If you say he wasn't seasoned at 26, it means that you know when he was seasoned. Go ahead and tell us, my brother. Because I need you to understand, Hash Bass. If you don't answer that question, when Tank Davis was seasoned, I'm not answering no questions from you. I'm not taking your little mental gymnastics. Hash Bash at 22. So are you saying, Hash Bash, that at 22 years old, Tank was seasoned? Is that what you're saying? Because now you're not making sense. He was seasoned at 22, but he wasn't seasoned at 26 when Loma was trying to fight him. Is that what you're saying? So Tank was seasoned at 22, but he was not seasoned at 26 when Loma was trying to fight him. You're not making no sense, bro. You see how you don't make no sense when you got Tank of Maniac logic? It was just a few minutes ago that you told me that Tank was not seasoned for Lomachenko at 26 years old. So now he was seasoned at 22? Damn, bro, your math ain't even right. Your math ain't even right at this point. Come on now. Leo 741, is Canelo fans ruining boxing? Leo, you have to have a little better strategy than asking questions that you think are like, I got you questions. I got you questions. Because then I could just respond to you with a question as well. Are Tank fans ruining the sport of boxing by not asking Tank to fight the best? You tell me that first. Girma Mares. Sound like Hashbash don't really understand boxing. He just writing Tank coattail. Yo, he's a serious tankomaniac. A serious tankomaniac. Look what he's saying now. Loma never called out Tank. Lomachenko did, in fact, call out Tank on video multiple times. And Bob Arum said that he wanted to make the fight. And the response that they got from Floyd Mayweather, we don't need to make that fight. We're not trying to make that fight. Lomachenko's in a hurry. We're not. But Hashbash, he never seen any of that. He don't know any of that. So yes, Hashbash, Lomachenko actually called out Tank multiple times on video. Look up the videos, man. The videos are up. That's why I love YouTube. The receipts stay up there. Look up the videos, man. Oh, look them up. You look. You already tripped and fell on your own face, bro. You tripped and fell on your own face when you said Tank wasn't seasoned at 26 and then you say he was seasoned at 22. That shit is crazy. So Tank was seasoned at 22, a champion at 22, but at 26, he was unseasoned. When did he get reseasoned? Your math is crazy, bro. That shit is crazy. Ajana Haney, Tank casual Army fans are getting summer and annoying. Hash Bass. It was Tank that directly called out Loma after the Cambozos fight. Again, Lomachenko was active, winning titles, called out Tank for 3 years. So why don't you see that Tank was a duck for those 3 years? Oh, but now Lomachenko's a duck. And when I told you that Tank ducked Loma for 3 years, you said he wasn't seasoned, bro. You said Tank Davis wasn't seasoned at 26. And now you took it back to Tank was seasoned at 22. That's it, bro. You dead in the water. Your whole Tankomaniac logic was debunked right in front of you. That shit got debunked. The moment you try to say Tank wasn't seasoned, you debunked yourself, bro. Now you have to change it to now. He was seasoned at 22. Loma wasn't trying to call him out. Look, bro. When you get debunked, instead of accepting, yeah, I was wrong, all you start doing is making more shit out of thin air. You keep digging yourself into a deeper hole. Leo, you like how I got you trapped, my friend. Like, that's crazy. That's crazy. Like, how you say one thing and then try to slowly but surely change it to something else. Come on, bro. Shaggy, my dude, happy Thursday. Happy Thursday, my brother. You already know. We talking boxing. Tank Davis, apparently he was going to fight Jake Paul, but Lamont Roach messed up the plans. Some people say that, you know what, Tank, they'll respect if he fight Lamont Roach. He'll get the bag. I mean, if he fight Jake Paul, because he's going to get the bag. You know, the Tankomaniacs, like, Tank will fight anybody he wants. We just want to see him fight anybody but the best. We don't want him to fight the best. Guillermo Maris Jr. Hash you wrong. Loma Ben called out Tank way before that. Yo, the funny thing is, you see, every time, I like to debate with Hash Bass because he'll say some goofy ass shit. And when he realized he said some goofy ass shit that Tank Davis wasn't seasoned at 26 years old, then he had to say Tank Davis was seasoned at 22. So he already debunked himself. So what he got left, instead of admitting, damn, I was wrong. He was seasoned at 26. I was wrong. Instead of admitting it, he preferred to lie. Nah, Lomachenko never directly called him out. When Lomachenko's on video saying, I want to fight Tank Davis. Bob Arum is on video saying they want to make that fight. Floyd Mayweather's on video saying we don't want this fight. You got nothing left but to make up lies. Come on, man. I'm the human algorithm for a reason. There's a reason why I'm the human algorithm, why I'm Jay Stradamus. Because when you make up fake shit, I'm going to easily be able to debunk it. Easy work. Hold on, my people. The colors in my screen is crazy. Familia número uno, prayers for Dominican Republic. Rest in peace to the legend Ruby Perez. Dios te bendiga. Yeah, man. Yes. Sad situation. What happened at that club? I'm 2 hours away from there, so luckily for me, me or nobody from my loved ones passed away in that situation. But they still trying to find people who haven't been found yet. So unfortunate, real unfortunate situation. And rest in peace to all the innocent souls who died that night. Yeah, man. Sad situation. R.I.P. to everyone who passed away on there. Ajana Haney, Tank Army of Tankomaniacs. Yo, Tankomaniac mode. Leo, if Tank a duck, those other fighters need to take notes because two ducks, Tank, Canelo run boxing. You see, Leo, the problem with what you're saying is that Canelo Alvarez is the most accomplished boxer, active boxer right now. Canelo Alvarez beat more champion than every other active boxer. Beat more reigning champion than every other active boxer. While Tank Davis sits over there, that if I ask you how many reigning champions Tank Davis beat in his own division, you have to Google it before you figure out that the only reigning champion he fought was Pedraza in his own division. Pedraza, a stepping stone who got beat up by everybody. So Tank Davis' resume and Canelo's resume is very different, my brother. Canelo could retire today, right now, and he's headed straight into the Hall of Fame. Tank Davis ain't going to no damn Hall of Fame. Come on now. Come on now. If we have a debate about Tank Davis and Canelo Alvarez, you're gonna get pummeled. You're gonna get pummeled trying to make that comparison. So as a Tankomaniac, I know you feel like you could make that comparison and you got a good one right there, but no, it's a horrible comparison. It's a horrible comparison. Floyd Mayweather been in the ring with people who go into the Hall of Fame, already in the Hall of Fame. Who Tank Davis been in the ring with that's going to the Hall of Fame? Don't do it to yourself, bro. It might sound good inside your head, but it's not. Hash Bash, that's my name. My father got it from Isaiah 8, verse 1. Ooh, interesting piece of information. I wasn't aware that that's where your name came from, but that's fire. That's fire. JJ's in their house. 1 million duck will never add to a bull. And why is it that Tankomaniacs, as soon as Tank duck moves come up, they start talking about everybody else? Right now, when we bring up Tank Davis duck move, they bring up Shakur, they bring up Canelo, they bring up Floyd Mayweather, they bring up Jake Paul, they bring up Josh Padley, they bring up everybody. It's like they don't want to talk about it because they know it's true. They know. Look, Hash Bass was just trying to tell me that Tank wasn't seasoned at 26 years old. And then when I asked him at what age he was finally seasoned, oh, he was seasoned at 22. Let me bring it back down 4 years. Come on, man. Come on, my peoples. Dumb found Lanka. Tank has a good career, not a Hall of Fame career. If he retires today, he'll become one of the biggest what-if cases. Of course, he had, and I always say, Tank beat very good fighters. Beat very good fighters, which makes up for a very good career. Has he beat great fighters? No. Has he beat any of the best in any of the divisions that he's fought? No. Yo, he went to 140 to fight Barrios when Josh Taylor was the undisputed champion. That pretty much sums up Tank Davis' career. Went and fought the good guy when the best guy was up there and available. And what did Ellerby say? Leonard Ellerby. Oh, nah. Josh Taylor ain't got nothing to offer us. The undisputed champion didn't have nothing to offer us, but Barrios, who had never been on pay-per-view, had never beat a champion, had never been on a big stage, fighting in little ballrooms, he has something to bring. Yeah, he has something to bring. So you see, not trying to fight the best. And even At 30 years old, haven't fought any other belts, and he already talking about retirement. And look, was trying to fight Jake Paul. If it wasn't for Lamont Roach, Tank Davis and Jake Paul will probably be fighting next. Crazy work. Come on now. Ajana Haney. Tank is one of them, but not the face. He ducked Devin and Shakur. He ducked Teofimo Lopez too. He ducked Teo. Leo. Is Sylvester Stallone in the Hall of Fame? How many champions he beat? Checkmate. Got you again. Tank is definitely Hall of Fame. Oh my God, yo, Leo, did you start watching boxing recently? Like did you really bring up Sylvester Stallone and think that you got a checkmate because you brought up Sylvester Stallone? That's not a checkmate, bro. You're embarrassing yourself. You didn't get me. You embarrassed yourself, bro, by bringing up Sylvester Stallone. Come on now. Like, that is so irrelevant. Is Sylvester Stallone in the Hall of Fame for fighting or for being a figure? You seem to not understand what is the difference, what is the different categories or the different ways people get into the Hall of Fame. Did you see Sylvester Stallone fighting as a professional? Sylvester Stallone never fought as a professional. So why would you compare Sylvester Stallone to Tank Davis? That's embarrassing, bro. Those are the type of things that it sounds good inside your head, but it's embarrassing that you would even say it. Embarrassing. Hash Bass. What you seen in the verse is the full name. Mazer Shala Hash Bass. I just chose to use Hash Bass. Better Muhammad. Tupuria will smoke Canelo. What? Tupuria is not even a boxer. Isn't he one of them MMA guys? Ozzy. Jake too big for Tank. I think they could do a catch weight. And Tank will beat him. Jake Paul don't have the skills to actually catch Tank Davis with them shots. With them looping ass, whack ass punches. Bilal Muhammad. Why you did Saveda Salami? He would beat Tank Davis too. Bro, if these people are not boxers, like, I don't even know who that is, bro. That name that you put right there, whatever Salami, I don't even know who that is. Ajana Haney, Jake, a bit too big for Tank, but Tank got skills. Yeah, I think Tank would outbox him. Tank will beat him up. Belar Muhammad, he's a boxer, you casual. So because I don't know him, you think that I'm a casual? I'm going to tell you like this. Do yourself a favor. Check out some of my videos. Go back and check out some of the videos. See some of the people that I know. And you'll quickly become to realize that you're a casual for thinking that somebody's a casual because they don't recognize a name. Everybody doesn't recognize everybody, bro. The person that you mentioned, he's not highly ranked. I don't know him from a hole in the wall. There's a lot of people in different countries that you don't know, bro. That don't make people a casual. Like, unless you're somebody who just ran into boxing and you don't know shit about boxing and you just go. Let me tell y'all something, my peoples, and this is real talk. People who really know boxing, who really been involved with boxing, don't go around calling people casuals. It's only the people who really don't know shit about boxing that just go around calling strangers casuals. This dude don't know shit about boxing. But I'll let you slide. You can keep talking your shit right there. Ozzy. Casual is basically just following the heavyweights or the big fights. Exactly. Casuals are the fans who don't really follow boxing like that. When there's a big fight, they'll tune in. But they'll mostly watch the highlights if it's a famous fighter. But who the hell's going to a YouTube channel that is about boxing and tells the host that they're a casual? You gotta be some type of goofball looking for attention. The first thing he mentioned up in here was Tupuria, an MMA guy. Man, shut the fuck up. Ozzy, nothing wrong with the casuals. They make the sport big. That's a fact. When you see that an arena is sold out, the overwhelming majority of those people are casuals. I guarantee you, the overwhelming majority are casuals. Yes, hardcore fans go to fights, but casuals outnumber us by a landslide. That's why when you're one of these fighters who's very popular, you have a casual fan base. You have a huge casual fan base. Ajana, casuals make numbers, but they're casuals. Yeah, yeah. But casuals are important to boxing. They're important to boxing because they bring in a lot of the pay-per-view buys. They fill out the arenas, all that good stuff. Stinky poop head casual. You see, you just needed attention, Muhammad. Now your goofy ass got some attention. Go to another channel and tuck your dumb shit. We don't need casuals like you up in here. Goofy. My bad, my people. I enjoy kicking some people out. I enjoy kicking his goofy ass out. Ozzy, how long you been into boxing, Jay Smith? So when it comes to boxing, I had different stages, and let me explain myself. My first stage was when I started watching boxing. I started watching boxing when I was 11 years old. My pops took me to go see Julio Cesar Chavez versus Meldrick Taylor, the first fight. When I saw that fight, I fell in love with boxing and started following and started watching it. But my parents didn't want to let me box. When I turned 17 years old or 16, I went to Gleason's gym and I started training. And then I was an amateur boxer. I actually got to compete in tournaments in the New York City Golden Gloves. I made it all the way to the semifinals. And I was one, because if you're fighting in the New York City Golden Gloves, if you win the semifinals, the finals is in Madison Square Garden. So I overlooked my opponent. I thought I was going to be fighting in Madison Square Garden. I lost that fight in the semifinals. I didn't get to fight in the Garden. And from there on, I started, I'm not going to say losing interest in boxing. I stopped being disciplined. I stopped running. I wasn't running as much. I stopped skipping days to the gym until ultimately I quit boxing, right? But this whole time I've been following boxing faithfully. What's going on? Who are the champions? Who are the up-and-coming guys? I always keep my eyes on the amateurs to see who are going to be the next big stars coming up. And then when I was 44 years old, I met a promoter here in the Dominican Republic, and he was promoting a fight like in 6 months. And I was like, yo, I want to fight. I want the opportunity to fight. I always wanted to fight as a professional. That's how I ended up having that one fight as a professional fighter. John Parra, what about Floyd lying about buying all those apartments? Whoa, John Parra, what are you talking about lying about buying all those apartments? I didn't know about that. What you mean he lying? Supposedly he bought a bunch of apartments. I've been watching boxing since 1989. MAW, shaking my head. Ozzy, what weight were you fighting at, champ? I fought at 135. Oh, as an amateur? No, as an amateur, I fought at 112. At 112. I think when I fought in the Golden Gloves, it was at 118, but I can't remember if I fought at 112 or at 118. John Parham, MAW, crazy work. And 50 cooked him. Hold on, John Parham. I didn't know about, because I seen that they supposedly came to a deal where Floyd bought a bunch of apartments. So I don't know about what you're saying there. Don Lanka, one hell of a first fight to watch. I fell in love with boxing. And let me tell you something about that fight. I was rooting because, remember, I don't know nothing about boxing, right? I was rooting for Jermaine Taylor because before the fight started, they were showing the replays, like highlights of each fighters. And I see Jermaine Taylor looking ripped. Ajana Haney looked for Julio Cesar Chavez versus Jermaine Taylor. One. When you watch that fight, you're going to thank me. So Jermaine Taylor was ripped. And you know that Chavez didn't have that type of body. Chavez looked, plain like a regular person. He wasn't cut up or nothing. I was like, yo, Jermaine Taylor's going to beat him up. Okay, we start watching a fight. Jermaine Taylor wins round number 1. I'm sorry, Meldrick Taylor. I said Jermaine Taylor. Meldrick Taylor wins round number 1, wins round number 2. Meldrick Taylor is putting the beats on Julio Cesar Chavez. But if you watch the fight again, what you're going to notice is that in every round, Julio Cesar Chavez landed 2 or 3 real hard shots on Taylor. But he wasn't landing enough for those. Taylor would just pop, pop, pop. It was just too fast for him. And at the end of the fight, round number 12, I'm celebrating. My guy's going to win. With like 10 seconds to go, Chavez caught him with a right hand. Boom! And dropped Meldrick Taylor. Meldrick got up. The referee, Richard Steele, was the referee. He was counting. And then he asked him, you okay? You okay? And Taylor was like this, like kind of like wobbling still, kind of like zoned out. He didn't say nothing. And Richard Steele waved it. It was like 2 seconds to go, bro. If he would have allowed the fight to continue, Chavez wouldn't even have enough time to run across the ring and get another punch in. And Meldrick Taylor would have won by unanimous decision. But Richard Steele waved the fight. It was over. It was over, and Julio Cesar Chavez won one of the most historic wins in boxing history. And right then and there, I fell in love with boxing. Like, now I understood why my father loved watching boxing so much. He used to always be watching it, and I used to kind of like see boxing in the background, but not really pay attention to it. For that fight, he told me, come on, I want you to see this fight. And that's it. Ever since then, I've been hooked on boxing, bro. Leo, during Hall of Fame debate, you mentioned Tank only defeated 1 champion. Is defeating a champion required to enter the Hall of Fame? Come on, Leo. You still doing the question things, man? You still going with the questions? The Hall of Fame is simply about accomplishments and what accomplishments do your opponent have. That's what is the most taken into consideration. So Tank does not have the type of accomplishments to put him into the Hall of Fame. A secondary title at 135, a secondary title at 140 that had you thinking he's the 140 champion when Josh Taylor was the undisputed champion at 140. You just don't understand that. So to you, he's a Hall of Famer because you don't understand how that works. Sorry, it's not the way that it works. Dunfao Lanka stole Taylor of his deserved win. So I'm going to tell you something, Dunfao Lanka, when it comes to that. I used to feel that way, but my perspective changed. And I'm going to tell you why. Why I understand what Richard Steele did. MAW, Richard Steele must have got a big fat envelope under the table. Shaking my head. Hash bash. Chavez was making it count when he cashed him. So I want to point something out, guys. And I really want you to listen to this. MAW, please listen to this. Dunfao Lanka, please listen to this. I watched a Richard Steele interview, right? Where they asked him about that fight specifically. And this is what he said, and I understood him. He said, as a referee, my job, when I do a standing count, when a fighter gets up and I complete the 8 count, my job is to ask him, can you continue? Can you defend yourself? Are you good? I have to ask a question of the fighter to get a response. That's going to tell me if he's good to defend himself. As a referee, my job is not to look at the clock and say, wait a minute, how much time is left to see if I can let him go? No. As the referee, what I got to determine is, can he defend himself? And when I asked him, are you okay? Are you ready? He was just like this. And I asked him again. I tried to give him another chance so he could respond, are you okay? Are you okay? And he still stood like that. I have to wave it. Because in that very moment, no matter how much time was left on the clock, Meldrick Taylor could not defend himself. That changed my whole perspective. Because I always felt like, you should have let it go. It wasn't a lot of time left on the clock. But the referee's job is not to look at the time on the clock. The referee just needs to understand, can you defend yourself? And if we're being honest right now, my peoples, Meldrick Taylor could not defend himself. He literally did not even respond. If you remember that fight, or you could go watch the replay, Meldrick Taylor was like this. Can you keep going, son? Can Can you? And he finally waived it. He asked him a couple of times. He tried to give him an opportunity to respond. Meldrick Taylor could not respond, bro. He was out on his feet. So that's when I understood why Richard still stopped it. It was a good stoppage. Yo, for years and years, I said Richard still dropped the ball. For years. And as soon as I saw that interview and him explain what the referee's job is, I changed my mind. And that's a good quality, my peoples. When you believe something hardcore, but you could get a convincing argument and change your mind because you understand it's a reasonable argument. That right there, my peoples, that's a great gift to have as a person. To say, I believe something, but if I hear a good argument, I could change what I believe. And that's what happened with me with that fight. Now, when I watched that fight multiple times, that's when I really understood, damn, Chavez was catching Meldrick Taylor with real hard shots in every round. It was just that he was hitting him with 1 or 2 shots. Those were overshadowed by all them punches Meldrick Taylor was throwing. He's faster, he's flashier, he looks better. But if you watch the fight again, you're going to notice in every round, at least 2 or 3 boom, boom, hard shots from Chavez. And in that round number 12, when he caught him with that right hand, Meldrick Taylor got up. He did not have his feet under him, yo. He did not. So it was a legit stoppage. He was not ready to defend himself. JJ said that has Chavez going to be at Yamava Casino April 23. Jay Smith, ask everyone, how is Taylor right now in life? Oh, my God, bro. Meldrick Taylor, he's punch drunk to a point where he can't even put a whole sentence together that you can understand him. You can't even understand when he talks. Like, he's so, like, those fights with Chavez left him messed up in the head. They should have never did the rematch. But I understand they did the rematch because he was close to winning the first one. In that rematch, Chavez pummeled him so bad. And Meldrick Taylor was never the same. He was never the same. If you go look for a Meldrick Taylor video today, you see he could barely talk. Sad, sad. Hash Bass, Hall of Fame doesn't make sense by making Leon Spinks a Hall of Famer by having a 26-17 record and only highlights in his career is beating or Ali. That's because, my brother, you judge boxing like the new social media fans. You look at the losses. That's why you're always gonna be labeled a hater because look, you're looking at the losses. You're not looking at the names of who he beat, and you're only focusing on he beat Ali. No. Leon Spinks beat a lot of top level fighters, a lot of highly ranked fighters, beat a couple other champions. But you only focus on Ali because you look at it from a hater point of view. Leon Spinks beat a lot better fighters than Tank Davis. But look, you question the Hall of Fame by trying to hate on a fighter because of his losses. Because you're like from the Mayweather era. Oh, if he lost, he got exposed, he's a bum. You don't understand how boxing was back in the days. You don't judge if you wasn't a hater, you don't judge fighters by their losses. You judge them by their wins. But you're a hater, so you judge them by their losses. That's why. Hash Bass. They also had a rematch, Chavez versus Taylor, and Chavez beat him, and Meldrick wasn't never the same. That rematch, that's it. He took mad punches in the head after what he already took in the first one, and that's where he's at. Leo, did Harry Greb ever hold any titles? Is Harry Greb in the Hall of... Oh, my God, yo. You still asking the questions, bro? Like, that's your thing? Let me just ask a bunch of questions that fit my narrative. No matter how many questions you ask, Tank Davis' resume is not Hall of Fame worthy. There you have it. You can ask